technology, you can jot it down because we've all got 5 million things going on, right? Is the dog out of the cage? Are my kids okay? Did they get their pants on this morning, right? You don't know. So you have a lot up there, so jot it down. I've given you space to do so. And then you need this Scantron, which you are going to take a test. But it's not going to be officially graded. It's just a part of my demonstration. So these 2 things are yours, and you're going to keep the other 3 things we'll get to later on, and then you're just going to keep that at your stations, and we'll share that when we get to that point. So this is my 7th year teaching, and you know, my kids, probably like all of yours, are crazy. Right? It doesn't matter what time of day it is. I don't care if it's after lunch. I don't care if it's the full moon. I don't care if this is the day after Halloween. They are crazy, right? They're crazy, period. And you have got to, essentially, as educators, we are makeshift actors and actresses. We are up here playing a part, and our job is to get our students to want to be in that play with us, right? And one of the best ways for me to get my kids in my play is to use technology. Because I can't get them off their phones, right? They're always on those darn phones. We're a one-to-one school. They can't charge their iPad, but that cell phone is at 99%. Right? It's unbelievable. So I utilize technology a lot because that's my way of getting them pulled in and doing something they want to do anyway, right? Which is fiddle with devices. And probably most of them are better at it than we are, right? Like, oh, hey, wait, how'd you just do that? You know, and that's cool, right? It's a learning experience, and kids love that. So I'm going to dive right in with our first thing. So this is something that I use. I love it. I've been using it all year. It's called ClassroomScreen.com. So I don't know if your districts are pushing you for agendas and bell ringers and tickets outs and all that good stuff, but mine is. And so this is what I use. I use ClassroomScreen.com. I keep it up all period long. You can freeze the projector while you move on to something else or take attendance or whatever. So up here I have my bell ringers, my ticket outs, I have anything that's due that day, homework for the next day. It's all going to be up here. And the cool thing about ClassroomScreen.com is it's free. There's no login. And you can do a whole wealth of things on here. So obviously this is just my standard text box. And you can change the color and the font size, bold it, you know, do all that stuff. I got my nice tropical, relaxing, you know, beachfront property there. But you can change the background to anything that you want or make it a plain color. You can do random names. So all you have to do is copy and paste the roster of your students in there. So if you want to do random participation, you just click choose and the program will randomly choose a student. You can use it for partners. So if you click choose twice, those 2 are partners. So that's a really cool thing. And you can leave this up too. So once you put all the names in there, you're like, well, I don't want to do it every day. Just leave it up and kind of pull it to the bottom and nobody will see it. And then if you hit the X button, it goes away, but it'll be restored as soon as you bring it back with everything that you originally put in it. There's a QR code, so you can design your QR code and put it right in here if they're doing a scavenger hunt. And we're going to talk about some QR codes here later on too for some other ideas. You can draw. You can do work symbols, so silence, whisper, ask a neighbor, work together. And then I don't know, I don't personally use these unless I'm using Pogle. Anybody familiar with Pogle? So I use this with Pogle, right? Stop play. And then the timer and clock I use all the time, right? So we're on the clock teaching. So our administrators want to see us doing something educational every second of every class period. And I've noticed that even if there's a little bit of downtime, if that timer's on running, admin's like, yeah, you got a timer, you're doing stuff. So I just keep that timer up all the time. But in all seriousness, this is a really, really awesome tool for you to stay organized. It's helped me a lot. And my kids are like, hey, it's break time. I teach block, so I have 86-minute classes. And once we get done one activity, I'll literally put in my agenda 5-minute break. And they keep me on there. Marsh, it's break time, let's go. Okay, you got it, and we'll take a 5-minute break. So this is just a really cool way to continuously remind your students of what's going on. I also put my essential question on there for the unit that we're covering or that we're currently in. And then if you want to make it really big, if you hit this arrow on the far right, it'll take down that toggle bar, and then you can make it full screen. And that's typically what I do. And just like with any presentation, you hit escape, and it goes back to normal. So that's just one thing that I use. It is a staple in my classroom. You'll never walk in and not see this on the board, right? The other thing I want to talk about is GimKit. How many of you are familiar with GimKit? Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, how many of you have your cell phones? Yeah, I thought so. Get those out for me. So GimKit is this awesome, think of it as Kahoot or quizzes. So it's online review game, but it's awesome because, and I don't know if my students have picked up on this yet, but as we're entering, whenever we do vocab in a new unit, especially with my freshmen, right, this is the first time they're exposed to it probably ever, I have them make a Quizlet, right, your normal Quizlet, with their vocab words. So biogeochemical cycles, that's what we talked about, so they made it. And then we have a competition. Whoever has the best Quizlet gets to share it with me. And then guess what I do? It takes me 2 seconds and I make a GimKit. And our review game is done, and I've saved myself hours of playing a review game. So we are going to play this just so I can show you how cool it is for a little bit. But I do want to show you how to set it up. So if you are in GimKit, so here's 3 that I just have up there, and we'll play Habitat Vocab or something. But I want to show you how to make a new one. So if you click New Kit, it's really easy. So I'll put in the name, what am I picking? Biogeochemical.
Is there an app or website?
It's a website, and I'll share it with you in 1 second.
She'll give you the address, what you
And then, you can search all these photos, pick one that works for you. You can select whatever ones you want, and you can tie it into your Quizlet. So I'm going to tie it into my biogeochemical cycles, and we're going to pick that kit. You can also do, let me get out of here. You can import from a spreadsheet. So if you have it in Excel, because that's how all of my tests originally were, you can just copy and paste it in here if you want, or upload the folder. You can do it manually, so by hand. But I like to use Quizlet because I just make the kids do that, and so it's done. And then you just, okay, great, everything's awesome, add your question and get started. So let me just go back here. I'm gonna go back. Oh man. And if you want to import it here, like if it's not yours, if you click on whatever it is, scroll down and hit those three little buttons there, and go to export. You just copy this text and paste it into GimKit. So if it's not connected, or maybe they didn't share it with you, or you found it, somebody else made the Quizlet and it's not yours, you can just copy and paste and then drop it right into the GimKit when you create it. So let's just play a little bit. So in GimKit, you have a bunch of different options. So you can set it up where it can be classic, so students against students. You can do team mode, so you set up the kids together and they've got to reach a certain money goal or a time goal, whatever you want. And I always pick classic because it's more fun for me. Time or race, all in, whatever you set it, so we'll keep it at 10 minutes. Starting cash is 0. They can't go below $50. We'll put music, clapping in, and I always do power-ups, and you'll see why, because it's a lot of fun. So then you hit continue. So go to gimkit.com/play and enter that 5-digit code in. All your names will start to pop up and generate. If you don't have your phone, you don't want to use your data, that's totally fine. You can just look at your partner next to you. And if you're afraid you're not going to do well, put a fake name in and nobody will know. Now, if you start this and a kid's in the bathroom, that's totally okay. The code will remain up there. They can enter the code and enter at any time during your game and start as normal. Even though there's a game and there's a competitive aspect to this, really it's about reviewing, right, for the quiz or the test. And this will definitely do that.
See you up there. Yeah, all right, well, you just better win for me. Oh, there's 2 Daniels there.
Steelers fan, boo.
I like the drawing while you're waiting. Oh, she is.
Yes. Yeah, so you can draw while you wait, right? Because it takes kids longer than others to get in, so they draw all these goofy pictures.
Do you get to see the pictures they draw or no?
No, but it erases automatically, so. All right, so I'm going to start the game. If you're not in yet, it's okay. You can keep joining. Is everybody okay if I start? So there's music. Questions should be popping up. They're not up here. Questions popping up. Oh, no, good. Why would that work? Okay, let me try something else. Did you win? Good job. All right, put in that code. We'll try a different one. It's probably because I didn't finish that other one when I made it. This one is going to be very hard. There's a chance that none of you are going to get these right, and that's fine, unless you're in animal science. And my students really, really love this. So we always do this the day before, as typical, right? You review the day before, you take the quiz, and as part of the bell ringer, they always want to play this. They're like, just give me 5 minutes. Let me play it for 5 minutes. Yeah, they love it. They absolutely love this. They have a good time, and sometimes if I'm feeling particularly wild or crazy, I'll narrate. So as the leaderboard goes up, I'm like, oh, Mason edged in first. Come on, Veronica, get there, right? And I do like my sports thing, and then they get really excited. And sometimes I play with them, and then it's beat the teacher, which is awesome. And you'll see why. So as you answer your questions, it's going to show you the scoreboard. You also have the ability to do power-ups. So if your classmate is getting really good, you can freeze them out for 20 seconds and they can't answer any questions. Or you can steal money from somebody, right? So you have to answer so many correctly, get the money, buy the other things, and then you can go farther where you can hurt your teammate. Yeah, I told you this one was a little hard. Sorry. Just gonna let them play for a little bit. Maybe somebody will do a power up.
And I'm shopping.
Ashton's really freaking out if I tell you. He's like, almost 100 people.
It's too much. I was only supposed to have 60.
You're doing great. This is the least all day in this room. Like, I was in earlier, I was standing in line. It's crazy.
Alright, so nobody's used power-ups to hurt anybody. I should have gotten the game. Because I like to freeze the kids out. So it's just really fun because you get to go through all of this. The kids are competing, but they're learning at the same time. At the very end, it'll show you that you can download onto Excel and you can print it out. But it's going to show you a spreadsheet. So how many students got question number 1 wrong? How many got question number 2 wrong? So if all of your kids, or 95% of them, are getting question 10 wrong, that's probably a concept that they're not understanding, and maybe some reteaching may be involved. So it's a lot of fun. It's really easy. It takes 2 seconds to set up. And planning is done, right? And you can take your spouse out to dinner. And you all are having fun because I don't think anybody's really paying attention. Don't pay Oh, somebody finally upgraded money. There we go. Now, how upset are you going to be when I stop? All right, are you going to be okay? I'm going to decline in stores and shop. Sorry. Okay. I know. So, if you all had fun doing it, you know your kids are going to enjoy it. So that's one of my favorite things to do is give a kid. Because it is so easy, and then at the end, I can crunch all my data in a matter of minutes, and I can see exactly where maybe I fell short in my teaching, which concepts I need to hit again, or even, okay, we're definitely not on the same page, so we're not going to take the test tomorrow, because we're all going to fail, so we're not going to do that. So it's a really fun game. Yes?
You said does everyone have the same question one, or one?
No. Nope, it's all switched up, but the system itself.
Okay.
Right, so the system, like when I put in question one,
has outpaced growth of all other jobs in the job community. Okay, so I'm making a case. When these skills are integrated into lessons, we're not talking about taking a separate period where you work with kids in social emotional learning skills. We're talking about integrating the skills into what you're already doing. No one needs one more thing to do, okay? Here's some of the outcomes. When these skills are integrated and kids have an opportunity to practice them, teachers model them, and kids have an opportunity then to reflect a little bit on what they're doing, you're going to see an increase in attendance, in positive social behaviors, in engagement, and achievement. And the achievement, there were two studies that were done. One was done in 2017. One was done in 2011. The one in 2011 showed a sustained increase in student achievement by 11 points, 11 percentage points. The one in 2017 showed a gain of 13 percentage points, not for a year, but sustained over time. That's pretty impressive. Remember all the time whenever PSSAs came out and we lost our arts, we lost social studies, sometimes we lost health, you name it. And we did a lot of math and we did a lot of reading, right? So we did a lot of skill and drill. What happened? What happened? You might have had a slight increase for a year, but what happened? There were a couple of things. Kids started to really not like math and reading. And that increase, if there was one, was not sustained. Okay, and then when these skills are taught on a regular and sustained basis, you'll see a decrease in these things. Mental health referrals. Mental health is such a big deal for our students. Okay. And in the employment community, students who graduate that possess these skills, they're desired by prospective employers. Why not, right? They're far more likely to keep and advance their career. And there is the research to support that. So there's also an ROI, or return on investment. For every dollar that is spent working with kids in the area of the career-ready skills, on a sustained basis, integrating them into lessons with fidelity. So if someone's planning a lesson, They look at their lesson outcome. They obviously look at the academic outcomes. And they look at the lesson process, right? And they're thinking about the process. What am I going to do? How am I going to teach this? When they look at that process in their Danielson framework, it's very easy, once a skill is identified that kids need, to put an activity in there or just shift an activity that helps kids to have that practice. And that's what PD is recommending, is that it be integrated into lessons. So how did all this come about? In 2015, there was an internal career readiness committee that was formed. They were big business and industry leaders that met with educators and other workforce folks in a committee to study what needed to happen to get our kids ready in Pennsylvania for careers and jobs and post-secondary school. So here are the conclusions. Embed the career-ready education and workforce development in pre-K to 12, which is happening, right? Laura was just here. She was talking about, Laura Frederici was just here, and she was talking about all of the things that are helping in schools to get kids ready as far as looking at personal preferences and strengths and identifying skills and identifying jobs that they might be interested in. And then the second one was to strengthen and expand employability skills. And folks, when I refer to employability skills in this presentation, I'm talking about career-ready skills. So here's what happened. PD went back to a drawing board, formed a committee to craft the career-ready skills. We had a lot of folks look at these skills and give us feedback at the national level, National Governors Association, Harvard University Education Department that was really linked to social emotional learning, and the Collaborative for Academic and Social Emotional Learning. Does anybody know CASEL in here? Yeah? They're based in Chicago, and they have been working in this work for probably 25 plus years. They have a lot of research to support the work and continue to do the work. And then at our state level, we had a lot of folks that gave us feedback on the skills. So here they are again. So if you take your continuum and you look to the left, you're going to see three big buckets. You'll see self-awareness and self-management, establishing and maintaining relationships, and social problem solving. Okay? Yep. Jean, could you talk a little bit about these? Sure. Here you go.
All right, I'll talk a little bit about the committee that we formed after the initial committee was developed. We included labor and industry, several people from the Department of Education with different backgrounds, and we also had after-school representation, and we also had the pre-K OCDEL people involved. Am I missing anyone else? And we sat down and we worked special ed. Okay, and safe schools. So we had a wide variety of people who had input in the development of these career-ready skills. And trust me, it was weeks and weeks of wordsmithing. When we thought we had it finished, we emailed it to all of our contacts. A lot of FCS teachers had input in this because our academic standards teach to the interpersonal skills. And if you were around education several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there was an interpersonal skills standards developed by the Secretary of Ed at that time. And then they changed them into career-ready skills currently. So we used, I forget what format we followed. We had books and books of different just different resources to use to determine what we wanted to have on here. And then we had all the different levels. We split up into high school level, preschool level, elementary level to develop what it would look like so that it wouldn't look broken, and that we were continuously improving all the way up through kindergarten, pre-K, through 12th grade, and then on to, post-secondary and your employment skills that you need to have. So it was a very well thought out, thank goodness to Pam, the committee chairperson, that it really was a project, and it continues on, and we'll go through all the things that we
period. And if it was right, it was right, and if it wasn't, I had to go back and do it again. Okay? Now in math, look at the shift in our schools. We're asking kids to be able to really understand a problem and what's being asked of them when they're thinking about that problem. They're going to have to be able to represent that problem symbolically often. They're going to have to use problem-solving skills. They're going to have to be able to recognize patterns. They're going to have to be able to synthesize information, pull it from here and here and here. They're going to have to be able to explain their thought process and how they got to an answer or got to a place where they had to stop because they were stuck. Very different from the education that I received. When I was in reading, I had a reader. I had to have nice handwriting. I had a spelling list. I had to look up the words and define them. Sometimes I had to use them in a sentence. Very factual information. Now we're asking kids to look at things more critically. We're asking them to justify their answers. We're asking them to think about something that they read and maybe engage in a debate with others around the protagonist. Very different. So I think that has to factor in as well. So we did a lot of aligning in the work that we did. These skills are aligned to the career education and workforce standards. They're aligned to the business standards. They're aligned to the math, science, and technology practices. They're aligned to Danielson. There's a lot of aligning. Just about every subject area, library, the arts, all of them. One of the things we did was we aligned to the National Network of Business and Industries Common Employability Skills. The folks that work in that national network are folks like Walmart Corporation and other large and small. I think Amazon is there, okay? And they gave us a framework to look at about what employers expect when they're hiring our kids. So that's the front of the paper or the document. There's the link. And then they identified 4 broad domains, and we aligned to these: personal skills, people skills, applied knowledge, and workplace skills. Okay? So in the personal skills, for instance, there is integrity, there's initiative, there's dependability and reliability. And then behind this page, this is a 4-page document, are the descriptors of what dependability looks like in the workplace, what integrity looks like in the workplace, what teamwork looks like in the workplace, communication. Why did we do this? Remember that committee in 2015 that I talked about? They told us, we can work with your students in teaching them job skills and teaching them the technical job skills, whether it's McDonald's and how to put a hamburger together, for instance, or whether it's a public relations job and there are specific steps within that job that are expected. What they cannot teach, and the reason our students cannot hold jobs, is the fact that they do not have these employability skills. This is what sustains a career. And these are the things that our employers in Pennsylvania and across the United States have told us we can't teach. They can say, you need to be on time. You need to dress appropriately. You can't tell a customer to talk to the hand. But if folks don't, if those students don't pick that up, if those young employees don't pick that up, they're out. Okay. Let me see if I can get this.
I'm sure that all of you have heard of the children's book by Judith Force entitled Alexander.
Hey, are you tired of the media spinning the truth and pushing false narratives upon you?
And I'm moving to Australia. Well, I've entitled, I'm sure that all of you have heard of the children's book by Judith Force entitled No Good Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, I Didn't Get the Job. And what I'd like for you to do is just to enjoy and observe what not to do during an interview. Thank you. Hello, Jenna Smith.
Hello.
Okay.
Dawn. Hurry.
Who's John?
That's my boyfriend. Hold on,
Okay.
he's so slow.
Let me tell John quickly down to the lounge because I like to do one-on-one interviews. Okay, John, hi. I like to do one-on-one interviews, and if you'll just go on down to the lounge, go down to the left and start right, and you'll run right into it. Thank you. What's your first? Okay, Janice, I have written down several questions, and I asked the same questions to all of the applicants.
Okay, hold on just a second. Hello? Yeah, let me text you back because I can't really talk right now, but I can text. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, where was I? I write down the answers so that I try to be very objective. Are you ready to start the interview now, Jenna? Okay.
Okay, carry on.
All right. Before we get started, I have asked you to bring me a list of references. Do you have those for me?
You know what? Hold on just a second. You know what? I'll probably left those at home. I can just tell you, and we got my Aunt Sharon, my friend Tiffany, she's too much. Carmen, we can use Carmen.
That's okay. That's okay. That won't be necessary. If I happen to need them, I will contact you later, okay? Would you tell me a little something about yourself?
Well, I'm 28. I live with my parents. They're the reason I'm having to get a job. I'm into country music. I like rock music. I love Trace Adkins. I have a boyfriend, John. You met him. We've been going out since Wednesday. He said we're going to get married. That's about it.
Okay. Why do you think you'd like to work at our organization, Janice?
Saw that you guys had a job opening.
That's the reason, okay. It sounds like you may not know too much about our organization or about the job opening. Would you like for me to tell you a little bit about the job opening?
If you want to, but could you kind of like speed it up because I'm going to be out of here in like 15 minutes. So.
Okay. Well, the job here is as a receptionist and a bookkeeper. So we take turns once a week, including myself, we clean the front office and we clean the bathroom. We take turns doing that. And then on top of all of that, the skills that you really need to possess are good computer skills, good communication skills, and of course bookkeeping skills. Do you possess all of those skills?
I'm sorry, but you lost me at bathrooms. I don't even clean my own bathrooms at home. I mean, I got a new tattoo and I can't get it wet, so.
Have you ever been employed before, Janice?
Down at Licensed Department Store in their office.
And why are you no longer employed there?
Well, I'll tell you why. The boss was a class #1 jerk. She was always on my case about being late, and I was never really late. It was like a 10 or 15 minutes maybe, and it wasn't every day. It was like every other day. She was always also on my case about my door bouncing and my columns coming out right, and I was always off like $1 or $2 here, $1 or $2 there, so she was just a witch.
Okay. How long were you employed there, Janice?
About a week or two.
And what did you enjoy most about the job?
I really didn't like it much. The paycheck, that was good.
Would you describe yourself as a team player, Janice?
I don't know. I played basketball in high school for a little while, but I'm just really not into sports.
How would you handle conflict with a coworker or with your supervisor?
I just tell them to talk to the hand or I ignore them. It just kind of depends on how severe the conflict is.
I think I'm going to skip the other questions because you seem to be in a real hurry. Do you have any questions for me?
When do I start?
Well, actually, I have a lot of other applicants to interview, so I have not hired anyone yet.
Well, can you tell me what?
So here's the introductory document. This document basically is the research behind the Career Ready skills. Yeah, it won't let me advance it. I see it. I just want to walk you through, basically. So what you'll see is you'll see the research. I'll just keep paging down. Yeah. Okay. And then behind that, some of the practices that already exist in Pennsylvania, like our ESSA indicators, Future Ready PA, Career Education and Work Standards. So if you are trying to explain to someone what these are, this is a good document. There's the continuum, and then there's the alignment. This is the Danielson alignment. And you can see just how strong that alignment is between the Career Ready skills, which are represented on the left, and then those four quadrants of the Danielson across the top. So that's one. And then we move into
judge the generation after and vice versa. And guys, we have 4 generations working together right now, and it's the first time in a long time that that's happened. If we don't start communicating, if we don't take our fixed mindset, knock it down, open some doors, and start speaking to somebody of another generation and get to know each other, how are we modeling our students to go out into industry? It's our job. So when you're talking to somebody in the hallway and a younger person or an older person walks by, stop them and start asking them about their day. You're going to find out this stuff's the same. But we get so fixed in our mindset that we see it one way. And I'm just as guilty of it. But through the past year, I started going, I'm going to start visiting other faculty lounges. It's the best thing I've done, because I'm really getting to know people there. And what I'm learning is all these stereotypes that we put upon the younger, it's not fair. Because here's what the deal is. They have something to add to us. Guess who speaks the language of the students in my classroom? This younger generation of teachers. I need to learn from them. I'm hoping that by opening that door of communication and saying, I value you, they'll start to go, well, how did you handle this back in your day? And that's okay, I'll take it. It's okay to be a veteran because I'm seeing that RV starting to pull out of the driveway too. But I want to share. And they're more open to listen when you're not all stodgy, correct? So here was one of my favorite moments though. So I gave this survey to my students, right? And I'm handing them out. And then immediately they start this. So I told you the faculty rooms, how the changes on how they tackle this survey. And immediately my students were like, well, why are we doing this? Before I could say a word, why are we doing this? And I almost like had that moment like, oh my gosh, talk about coming full circle. Right there, he said it. And sometimes it takes your brain exploding to go, these people that are buying into growth mindset and selling a lifestyle, there's something to it. Why don't I wake up and pay attention? And here's what happened. I put my PowerPoint together. Yeah, it took this long to find this page and had it really connect because I was further along. It said, recent studies suggest that overconfident people tend to have a fixed mindset. Uh-oh. As I'm discovering all this stuff and I'm thinking, oh, I really understand this. I'm like Hannah Marie and I'm getting it. All right. And I'm talking to you teachers and I'm saying, hey, maybe you should think about it this way. And they're actually listening. And then all of a sudden I realized, uh-oh. Don't ever get overconfident. Don't ever stop trying. Don't ever stop learning. Open your mind to growth mindset constantly and start listening to how you're speaking to your students. The next thing it says, I don't need to learn anything new because I'm already good at it. Oh man, we're teachers. Of course we're good at our craft, right? But do you ever think you could learn something from the students? Because they speak the language too. And as we get older, we need to stay young for them. So that is why the trust, and I think Hannah mentioned it before, trust is so important. And when I ask you the question, are you a coach, a teacher, or a student? You're going to discover you're all three. And a lot of schools are hiring coaches to come into the school to teach growth mindset. So your coach will walk into the classroom. Now, coach walks into the classroom and they see this guy right here. And I love Dave. He's one of my buddies. But Dave has a fixed mindset and he'll be the first to own it. He'll say it. Dave's like, I'm good at teaching, I know what I'm doing, and these punks need to learn, right? And it doesn't work that way, Dave. I kid you not, I've been working with Dave, and he was play acting for me there. I was working for Dave, and about a week ago, some students walked by, and we had just had the conversation. Dude, you gotta open your mind. You're never gonna reach that kid if they feel like they can't talk to you, and you don't communicate, and you don't speak their language. And a kid walked by and said, Mr. P, can I go to the bathroom? And he's standing in the hallway. The kid hasn't even entered in yet. And he has his, because they all carry their laptops and iPads and stuff like that. And he went, give me your stuff. So this kid hangs his backpack, and I called it his purse at that point. And the kid goes to the restroom. The kid's gone for a while, right? And Mr. P's still standing there. Mr. Fixed Mindset's still standing there. And I went, you are really growing, dude. You're holding his purse while he goes pee. And Dave started laughing. And guess what he started doing? When the kids walked in during the day, because we have hall duty, we stand there and we welcome the kids. Instead of saying, today we're doing this, today we're doing this, he started talking to them. If Dave Palazzi, and I love this dude, and he'll be the first to tell you, can start shifting, he'll be the first to tell you, there's something to this, because he started noticing the kids talking to him. He's a fabulous teacher. Did he need to do this? Is he still going to reach his kids? Yeah, he is. But did his kids start to go, oh, Mr. P loves us? It makes a difference in how they work for you. It's kind of like give somebody a donut, they'll work all day for some reason, right? So I love this picture because I told this group, just do something fun now. And you can catch this, I gave you all this stuff here. But they just started playing around. And what was really great is, I'll show you on the last slide, that when they stopped pretending for me to take pictures, what they became. They started laughing, they started talking, and you're talking some teachers, we're talking first and second floor compared to the second, fourth floor. These are teachers that may have worked together for the last few years and never even spoke to each other because we're such a big school. And you see it happening, and that's when you start buying into it. So how can we begin to reach growth? And I put this in your packet, you can take it with you, there's also an intelligence quiz in there for you. But how can we begin to reach growth? Guys, this is really funny because it's so simple. Model flexibility. That's pretty easy, model flexibility. I used the generational gap in our school to really start to test this and see how it's working and sit back and observe, and that was my eye-opening experience. But then that started to flow into my classroom, and I found myself saying things like, oh, you're really smart, and then I tagged that kid, and I forgot about the effort the kid sitting next to them has put into it. That's so important. The next thing is model optimism. Well, They call me Rainbow Bright at my school. Go ahead, laugh, Denise. They call me Rainbow Bright at my school because I'm always like, hey, you know, that's okay, we can do it, go team. And I get hassled for it. I made a PA announcement here recently, and at the end I'm like, everybody have a great day. Oh, I got hassled for saying, have a great day. What? It's just being positive. At the end of the day, find good in every situation. Here's an example in there. Everybody's standing around, a glass falls off the shelf. Most people go, oh no, now I've got broken glass on the floor, I broke our glass shelf. And then somebody else that's modeling this said, now there's more room on the shelf. You can do this, and if you practice it, it'll feel ridiculous and feel funny in the beginning, but the more and more you buy into it, the more you start doing it, the more you start talking to each other and getting to know each other, this will work for you. I promise you, because it's working for me. There they are having fun. They didn't know I was looking. So if our students are our product, and we want to produce a good product, we have to be united front. Start talking to each other. Younger generation, your dinosaurs at your school have something to offer. Go back and ask them some old stories, and you're going to get to know that person, you're going to value what they have to tell you, because you probably went, that's happening to me. They can share that with me and help me through it. You dinosaurs, please stop stereotyping this younger generation. They speak the language. You need to learn the language. Get to know them. Talk to them. We're in this together. You can see the little Ann Getty print there. Our generations can become one.
Video? Thank you so much. Does the next session start at 10?
10:15.
10:15. Okay, perfect.
We'll get you out here on time.
This is all nonverbal, by the way.
Same.
I wrote the same, but in different words.
Thanks,
Thank you guys for coming.